Welcome to No Flipping Excuses with Jason Lucchese. Jason Lucchese was the guy voted least likely to succeed by his high school peers. Today, Jason's a real estate flipping ninja Jedi Knight assassin who's taken his drive, street smarts, and never give up attitude and converted them into a real estate flipping business and freedom-based lifestyle. After years of being chained to a cubicle in the mortgage business, watching his coworkers go bust, customers go bankrupt, and his hairline go bye-bye, Jason decided to make a change and blaze his trail to the flipping promised land. Each episode, Jason shares real-life real estate case studies, tips on how to find, finance, and flip deals, and mindset tactics he uses every day as a real estate investor, mentor, and leader so you can free yourself from the shackles of corporate America, fire your boss, and live the life you've always dreamed of, right flipping now. Here to share the truth about flipping houses, finding sellers, delivering buyers, real estate investing without the reality show hype, and all-around general business badassery. Your host, Krav Maga enthusiast, husband, and father of three, Jason Lucchese.
Hey there, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchese, and welcome to the No Flipping Excuses show. I've got a good show packed for you today with a good friend of mine. But before I go ahead, hop in and jump into that with you, if this is your first time listening to the show, awesome, welcome. If you are returning to listening to the show, awesome, thank you so much. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure that you leave us a review. We prefer a 5-star review. That would be awesome. We still have under the table that Mr. Michael Bretthauer, my chief ninja officer, will bring you some Dairy Queen coupons. So just, all jokes aside, I don't know if Mike's got the coupons or not, but we would prefer a 5-star review as that helps us out considerably. And my good friend is out of Tennessee. He's doing stuff all over the place there with new construction, rehabbing. He's doing some amazing things there. He came to our last event and people were just blown away with the information that he had to share. Justin and I met, it's been quite a few years now. He got involved with the training program and took off with it. He found a great deal. He made over $40,000 on that deal. And I believe he said it was probably one of the easiest that he's done. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my good friend, Justin Fields. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. No, I'm excited that you're here. We met back in 2013.
I was gonna say about 4 years ago, probably.
Yeah, time's flown by. I was just about to say, yeah, it hasn't been that long, and then you say 4 years. I'm like, oh, geez, that's been a long time that we've known each other. Your beard's grown out quite a bit since then, and I've grown a beard since then. So we're beard brothers.
That's right. When you can't grow hair on your head, you got to grow it on your head.
That's so true. I don't have any hair whatsoever. I should actually have it cut, but I've just been a little lazy here. So yeah, we've got it on the face, but it doesn't grow so much on the head anymore. So that's I hear you. So let's talk, man. So how's business been going for you?
Good. We're really busy. Obviously down in the Nashville, Tennessee market.
Yep.
So it's one of the hotter markets in the country right now. We've went from doing a lot of rehabs just because it's hard to find anything that's of a distressed value. It's I've got a buddy of mine kind of just getting into the business, and he's doing more of the realtor side of things, and he sends me 2 to 3 properties a day, and they're literally under contract within 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So
that's crazy.
The ability to find something distressed that you can rehab has become really difficult in about the last 24 to 32 months. So we're doing a lot of new construction. I'm doing some development deals, and always still hunting. Rehabs do pop up from time to time, but it's been mainly focused on development and new construction the last couple of years.
So what would you say primarily, for me, right now we're doing 65% wholesale, 10% is going to be rehab, and the remainder is going to be us buying and holding on to properties for our portfolio, what would you say your percentages are now? Because I know you really did do that transition over to the new construction. I know your background before you got into real estate full time was construction. So what made you really kind of see that as the huge opportunity?
Um, I would say that we were buying a lot. I was having great success with a course you came out with back, I think, 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Because one of the areas that I bought about 40 miles outside of Nashville was a heavily military base where soldiers in and out. There was always a soldier losing the house, and we were able to get houses at great discounts,
Hmm.
put the money into them, flip them. On the rehab side, well, I started seeing the banks transitioning out to they're doing highest and best offers. They wouldn't sell the house there even if you were the highest offer because they weren't getting the money they wanted. And so I started thinking, well, this source of leads for me was drying up. And I started looking at the new construction market, realizing that Nashville was starting to come back pretty heavy, and we kind of transitioned in that way. But to answer your percentage question, I'm doing very little wholesale right now. Probably 10% of my business is wholesale. And I would say 65 to 70% is actually new construction. And then 20%, I'm still buying and holding stuff when I can find it. I'm actually going under a contract on a house, hopefully this afternoon, with about 30% equity. Guys moving from a rural area, about an hour and a half outside of Nashville, kind of a market I know, and
Yeah.
moving to Nashville because of a job change, and he's just willing to give his house up. So I'm gonna take over the payment and throw a renter in it and let it build equity for me.
Nice, nice. So let's and I appreciate you sharing that with me. Let's take a step back here before really got into real estate, more from that full-time perspective. What were you doing before that?
Was doing a lot of construction and engineering. That's what my background was in. That's what I went to school for, was an engineering degree.
Hmm.
So I've been doing development for other developers and builders, and um, just kind of had always been interested in real estate because I grew up around construction, but where I grew up is a very, very rural, small market. So to have guys that are quote unquote investors, there's very few of them in the town. But
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough that my aunt, her brother, was and has always been really big into real estate investments. And so I just decided one day I wanted to talk to him and see how I could get my foot in the door. And went and sat down with him and started learning what he had kind of done throughout his life. He's an older gentleman, and
Yeah.
started seeking out help. And over a 3 or 4 year period, I ran into you and a couple different things transitioned with other people, and finally figured out exactly how to start the wholesaling business. And that kind of is really what got my foot in the door. I think I bought a property. Well, I bought a property in college that I lived in,
Yeah.
and then I thought, well, I'm still in college. How do I make this work? I have no money. And so I started figuring out how to wholesale and figured out, okay, I can buy this with no money and turn around and flip it, and make 3, 5, 7, 10, 15,000. And of course, back then that was 2005 and 6.
Yeah.
I started making a little bit of money here and there. And then when I wanted to actually start rehabbing, fixing and flipping properties, I built up a little bit of a nest egg. And of course, I had to learn that side of the business. And I think that's about the time I met you and started figuring out how some of you guys were getting you all's deals, and just
Right.
used your techniques and didn't try to recreate the wheel, but took what you were doing and implemented it, and the success took off, and here we are today.
No, that's awesome, man. And let me ask you this: what was your big why behind wanting to get into real estate? You had this construction engineering position going on. What was your big why into wanting to transition and becoming like your own boss? You made your own hours. Your how much you made was a direct reflection on your own personal willpower, putting forth the effort. What was that?
Well, at the end of the day, I've always tried to project where I wanted to be in 20, 30 years, and an engineering degree and background and job provides a good living. But I got to thinking, well, our parents grew up, you know, most of them anyway, with the idea of investing my 401k, Social Security, and I'm going to be able to retire on this pension that I have. And I got to kind of be forward thinking, and I thought, well, that's probably not going to be there for my generation, and if I want my kids to have anything, I need to really get out and build some kind of, I won't say an estate, but an empire for me to pass on to mine. And I thought, well, more money's been made in real estate than about any other form, occupation, business known to man. And so, like I said, it kind of went back to my aunt's brother. I seen what he had done. He's self-made, very, very, very well off, and I wanted to figure out how I could put myself and position myself so that I could have that nest egg later in life. But I also, in that process, got to thinking, well, I don't want to wait till I'm 50 and 60 to start doing quote unquote what I want.
Yeah.
I want to be able to set my time as I want. When we get off this podcast today, I'm running up to Louisville, where I went to engineering school, to catch a game. And I would have left yesterday, but I promised you I'd do this. But if had I not been in real estate, I never would have been able to make these choices, because I would have always been under the thumb, so to speak, of my boss.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me very long to realize that if I do this correctly, I can build a massively successful pipeline of rentals, always have some money constantly flowing in through wholesaling, and be able to really hit the licks with fixing and flipping. And then obviously now we've moved into the development and new construction stage. But it really all came back to the fact that I wanted time freedom, and I wanted the ability to kind of set my schedule. And then later in life, I wanted to have something besides just a little bit of a retirement and maybe a small estate here in Tennessee to pass on to my son.
Yeah, no. And trust me, man, I fully get it. You never know if what you are putting into your 401k is going to be guaranteed. I remember I was putting away 40% of my checks when I was at Countrywide, and the news came out. I believe it was, what was it? 2007. I remember it. It was like yesterday, May of 2007. The CEO came out, and it was like devastating news. Our stock went from like $43 to $12 overnight. So you can't imagine. Here I am. I'm using the air quotes for those of you listening right now. I was doing the supposed thing that I was supposed to be doing in life. Follow the 401k. When you retire, you're gonna have Social Security, and you'll be able to retire. But they didn't say you may, or hopefully you'll be able to retire at the right age. And I didn't want to have somebody dictating when I was going to be able to retire. So it's awesome hearing the whys, because a lot of the folks that I've aligned myself with, as far as like folks like you and folks that have done successful things as real estate investors, it always comes back to the right whys. We've done quite a few of these with people, and none of them have ever said, yeah, it was because I wanted to get a Ferrari, or I wanted to get this 10,000 square foot house. Those things are all great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but that wasn't the driving force for you. And that's how it's been for a lot of the people that I've aligned myself with. And I don't want to say like that. That's not a coincidence. It's because, you surround yourself around the people that you also want for yourself. And then all those other people, other people will fall off to the wayside. But like folks like yourself, we've been in contact with each other over the years now. And it seems like we're always, we've always got the same passions and the same whys. So that's awesome.
Don't get me wrong, though. A helicopter would be nice, because Nashville traffic is becoming like LA. It's getting pretty bad. So if I could fly to my location, that would be okay. But
hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to buy a jet, but I'd like to, take the kids on a jet. I think that would be fun. I don't think I've been on one. But it would be cool, fly on a little private jet someplace fun. And but no, I completely hear you. Get the helicopter, man. But no, you said you're going to Louisville, and I'm holding up a UK hat here. So hopefully we won't have to end the podcast here. But no, I just like the basketball. You guys will stomp us. You guys have probably a two-time Heisman with that quarterback. Man, that kid's a freak.
He is, but we just got some really bad news on the basketball side, so
Oh yeah.
it'll play out.
Yeah, that wasn't too good, man.
Oh,
That wasn't too good at all. Maybe that's for another episode. We'll discuss
right.
that. But what we're going to be discussing here in just a little bit with Justin is some of the stuff he's doing from a new construction side. Not a lot of people are doing that, and it's quite surprising, in my opinion, that not a lot of people are doing that. It's a huge opportunity. We're going to discuss like how he finds the certain lots that he does to do the new construction, and some of the marketing that he does to get those properties sold. So stay tuned. We're going to be hopping into some really cool stuff here with Justin, and you don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Are you facing a roadblock with getting started in real estate? This is an obstacle a lot of brand new investors face. Building a rock solid foundation is key to building your investing empire. I can tell you on page 95 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can build a lasting foundation that won't topple over when you're on the third floor. Do not avoid laying the proper foundation for your business. I've made this drop dead simple for you to just rip off and use within your own real estate investing business. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have the confidence you need to find and flip deals consistently month after month. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step proven plan for making profits on your very first deal, or maybe that second deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. Getmyflippingbook.com. Hey there, it's Jason Lucchese. Welcome back to the No Flipping Excuses Show. I'm with my good friend Justin Fields out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's doing some amazing stuff. We just discussed some of the things that he's doing in his business from a new construction standpoint and his huge why. And we've talked about a lot of whys here in the past. But let's do this. Let's talk about Justin's business. I love new construction. I think it's a phenomenal way to go. What made you, Justin, really want to get into the new construction? I know we touched on it briefly just a little bit ago, but I know you were saying something about some of the deals just not really being there. The inventory was getting snatched up pretty quick.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want for people that are in the Nashville area that are listening to you that may or may not be, active in the business. There's definitely deals out there, but just the frequency of them and the volume had definitely slowed down. Not only that, I had gotten really close to some different developers and got to realizing that, these guys were coming in a 6-month period, so about twice as long as a normal flip would take. They were making 100 to 150 grand by buying a lot, tearing a house down, getting it rezoned under condo zoning laws, and building 2 structures back on that lot.
Wow.
When I got to seeing the process of it, I thought, well, I've got an engineering degree. I understand everything they have to do from the zoning side, which in reality, even if somebody didn't understand that, you just go hire the right guy. I mean, you put your aces in your places, let them do their work, and get out of their way. You don't have to be the know-it-all, but fortunately for me, I did understand it, so I got to thinking, well, that's kind of where I see the market going in Nashville. Mm-hmm. We're having 1,000 people or 100 people move in a day, 5 to 100 to 1,000 move in a week.
Wow.
Housing has not been able to keep, the demand's not been able to keep, the properties are not there to keep up with the demand. So
yep.
It wasn't a scary transition for me to make to that because I knew the inventory was low. So we transitioned over to that. And in the process, we'll buy a lot and hold it. I've bought several lots, Jason, and wholesaled these lots thinking that I was going to build on them and averaging $50,000 to $70,000. And when we're talking about holding them 60 to 120 days.
Wow.
And doing nothing with them, letting the grass grow, cutting the grass. And so I've seen that. And now on our market, it's kind of okay. This has been going on for 4 years now, 5 years. Mm-hmm. I got in the last 2 to 3 years. I am trying to be cautious more so than buying up everything around us like we were previously over the last years. We are building some of our own. We do have a small little subdivision going, but we're also
nice.
looking at it from the side of how do we help other investors.
Yeah.
So we've gotten into that side of it. So we're using their money. And that just kind of goes into a different creation or creative way to use other people's money. Instead of being the guy that's completely on the hook for the money and the speculation of the construction side, we've moved over because I'm a licensed contractor into I'll build for the other investor and let him pull a profit, and I'm building for a fee. So I'm just kind of rearranging the things that we've done in real estate and moving them around so that we can make money. But they're again still buying property to build ourselves
Yeah.
and buying and acquisitioning when we can for rental property to build our portfolio.
So man, you guys are always staying busy. You guys are building for other investors, you're building for yourself, and you're also maintaining and building a portfolio for yourself.
Correct.
Man, that's awesome. Good for you. So I see the picture because I know Nashville is super competitive. It's a hot market right now. I don't see it probably letting up here anytime soon. So let me ask you this: what are some of the best strategies for the individuals listening right now? What's a really good way to go about finding lots?
Kind of breaking it down for them. I highly believe in you go out and you build your team.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by team is team of attorneys. Obviously, I've got a couple that I work very closely with, but we're networked with attorneys.
Yep.
So if somebody were to pass away or go through a divorce, oftentimes we'll get a call through them. There again, I think I've shared when I was at your live event. I'm a silent owner in a real estate brokerage, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not an active realtor. So I'm always out networking, trying to meet new realtors because those are a great source for leads. Um, Not every realtor is the same, as you probably know, and some of these listeners that do or don't know. Some realtors want to work with Jane and John Doe homeowner, and they don't want anything to do with us investors. And that's okay. If you run into that guy or
Yeah.
that gal,
Mm-hmm.
you just need to understand that they have a different mindset for their business and find the right realtors that want to work with us investors. Because once you find those, they will be another great source of leads that will bring you opportunities that you get to say yes or no
Right.
on. I still look back through the HUD home store, which is something that I learned from you. I'm always on there a
Yep.
couple times a week, seeing if I can find anything. It's not as resourceful as it used to be for me in this area, but that I'm constantly scouring Craigslist. I use a couple different auction websites that we obviously can get on there and bid online. I know for me, one of the things that just happened in our market is the tax sale just took place.
Okay.
For people that may or may not know about tax sales, you can go in and buy a house after, I know in our area, after 3 years of the taxes not being paid, you can buy a house a lot of times extremely cheap. Now, there's kind of a catch-22 to that in that we got to hold it for a year before we can do anything with it.
Right. So that's your
Um,
guys' redemption period in Tennessee?
so let's say it's a year. It's a redemption of a year, and I think they have a 18% markup if somebody wants to come back and buy their property back. So they got to pay what we paid for it plus 18% above that. So it's not a bad deal. Hey, if you want your house
Uh-huh.
back, great. We made 18% on our money in a year.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's great. That's really
Um,
good.
and then the other ways is just getting out beating the streets. Just some small stuff such as if I see high grass, I'll call codes. If I see flyers in the windows, I'll run those down. One thing that I don't do that I know a lot of people do is I don't do a lot of direct mail. Never really have. I've done a little bit of it and had some success with it, but just really have never gotten into a direct mail campaign, and maybe I should. I never have, but that's
Yeah.
kind of been my source of leads is and and I still stick out bandit signs. People people think I hear people say they work, people say they don't work. In my market, maybe because we're Southerners, they still work down here, guys. So
Yeah.
I suggest using them if you're in this area, or if you're not in this area, just see what your area provides for you. You may realize that it does and it doesn't. I don't know. And then I've become interested in kind of what you're doing on LinkedIn. I haven't started any of that just because I've been so busy, but
Yeah.
I've definitely been following what you're doing with your LinkedIn kind of backdoor stuff as far as doing notes and talking to these bigger hedge funds and asset managers. And I'm studying that so that I can start maybe implementing that sometime the end of this year, next year.
Yeah, for sure,
Let me
man.
know if it's still hot, because I don't want to start on it if you're seeing that it's if you ever see that it's not working as good as it was, but I assume it is from watching what you got going on.
Yeah, dude, to be honest with you, it's like new construction. There's not a lot of people doing it. It's not heavily competitive. You could still get in with, one, two, or possibly three asset managers, and they'll be plenty for you. They'll be sending you more than enough that you need, just because we've been seeing that they're not, they're not releasing a lot of these properties like they used to the general public. They're keeping them in house so that they could, liquidate them either to hedge funds. They could liquidate them to private investors like us. They want to do that before they have to go and list it with a real estate agent. So that there's still a huge opportunity out there. I think it's going to grow exponentially over the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to see more people having those properties because HUD is great, but from time to time, you need to have other sources, and these sources are pretty good with the asset managers, or hooking up with hedge funds that don't want certain properties, because you have to, if certain properties don't meet their criteria, they want to liquidate them as quickly as possible, because they buy 10,000 blocks of properties at a time. Not all 10,000 are going to meet their criteria. So what do you think they're going to do with a really big portion of those properties? They're going to want to get them liquidated to investors like ourselves. So that's a huge thing too. So with lots as well, are you doing anything with like going down to the county at all to see maybe reaching out to some people that have lots and reaching out to them that way at all?
A little bit, like I said, we'll look at different. Of course, I've got access to some of our local MLS and some of those online subscription things where I can look up different properties. And if I notice that like a family's had a death and there's a lot sitting over here in the state, sometimes if I'm not in contact with that attorney, I'll contact them directly.
Yeah.
If I notice that the county has a lien on something, sometimes I try to contact them that way. Like say high grass, that's one thing that I'm always driving around, and if I notice there's high grass somewhere, I'm going to try to find out what's going on with that house. There's typically a reason that there's grass up to the top of the porch or whatnot, and if it looks like it just got bush hogged, then I know probably the city just cut the grass, and so I'll call and try to find out that way. Outside that, I'm not really digging too much into the county sources, but that all comes back to the rest of the stuff that I have found in my particular experience has been tax sales and some different foreclosure stuff to that nature.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's discuss this a little bit more. Coming up, we're going to discuss some of the deals that Justin's doing, some of his new construction. We'll discuss some of the deals for maybe finding certain aspects out about lots. We're going to hop into, how you could find, competitionless type lots. I'm not going to say they're all going to be no competition. That would be foolish of me to say, but we're also going to hop into, some of the things that, is really working for Justin. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Have you been struggling to close your first real estate deal? I hear this all the time, and you're not the only person in the not having closed your first deal boat. I was there, and the feeling is horrible. I can tell you on page 103 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily overcome closing your first deal quickly and easily without using any of your own money or credit. My first deal closed when I was on vacation. I made $26,000. You can do the same thing. Grab a copy of my book at getmyflippingbook.com and you can get your first deal closed for massive profits. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits on your first deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. www.getmyflippingbook.com.
Hey there, it's Jason Lucchese. Welcome back to the No Flipping Excuses show. I am accompanied by my good friend Justin Fields out in Nashville, Tennessee. We've been discussing some of his new construction techniques for finding properties, how he's also doing some rehabs, some wholesales, some really cool stuff down there in the Nashville market, which is a super, super hot market right now. We were just discussing some of the ways for finding deals in his particular market. One of the things that I wanted to mention here before we cut off to the last part there was code violations. So is that one of the things too that you're seeing, like with the high grass? Are you seeing like potential code violation opportunities?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
High grass, and there's some different things. Every market's slightly different what they're going to violate you on with their codes, and it's something you got to read up on.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, fortunately, I do have the engineering background, so I'm a little more potentially inclined to know some of those violations or some of the codes that, as a new investor, you just got to get out and learn these things. It's all in the public domain. You can find all this. So just get out and learn and do the research. If you really want to be in this business, like you said, you can't have one source of leads. You got to have multiple sources of leads.
Right. Exactly. And would you say the experience aspect, even for a wholesaler, just get out there, and even if you have a property that you have the opportunity to get under contract, would you be on the recommendation of go look at it, or just get it under contract sight unseen? Like from an experience standpoint, what would you recommend to that person just getting on board?
I look at that really as a twofold, depending. Yes, sight unseen is absolutely okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the circumstance that you do have a viable buyer's list. I know you teach your people that how important that is.
Yeah.
For me, early on, I'm always been a run, jump in the pool, learn how to swim guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't build my buyer's list first, and I had a bunch of properties under contract back in 2010, and oh crap, I don't really have a whole lot of money. Who do I sell these to?
Right.
So that was a mistake. It was a mistake for me. And then I had to stop, back up, build my buyer's list. And then once I had that, going out and putting a property under contract sight unseen, if you know where your buyers are buying and kind of the parameters, yeah, why would you, if you can get on Google Maps and look at it and determine, okay, this house is not caved in, it meets the criteria, general criteria of my buyer's list that buys in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the right spread there, yeah, you want to get it under contract immediately, because if you've got any competition in your market, I'm sure there's somebody else that's going to be looking or has looked at that property. So if you can get it under contract and flip it to your buyer's list within the next 7 to 10 days, there's an easy $3,000 to $7,000. And I always try to tell people that I talk to that are wanting to get into the business, well, you don't have to have the money.
Right.
If you can repeat that, say 3 times a month within a 5 to 6 month period of getting in the business, well, you've probably made more than you may have been making before, unless you're a professional that goes to a 6-figure salary job every day. Most people that I know in my area down here in Tennessee, if you're making $60,000 to $70,000, you're doing great. Well, if you're making $10,000 a month flipping houses in your pajamas on Google, it don't take long to figure out. You just eclipsed your income of $50,000.
No, that's true. And I got my calculator out here because I wanted to bring a point to people that if you are making, let's say $100,000 per year, that comes out to $8,300 per month. And for me, when I was at Countrywide, I was working probably 14-hour days. You times that by 5, and then I was working probably 6. Let's just say 5 hours. So 75 hours. I times that by 4. So that's 300 hours per month that I would work. So we take the 8,300, divide that out. It's $27.78 per hour. Do you think that sounds good in your opinion, Justin?
No. I would. I probably won't even get out of my house for less than about 50 an hour now, and I don't want that to sound foolish or, I don't know what the right word with that. I don't want to be egotistical, but it's just once you've had and you've reached certain levels in the business, you realize that okay, this is real.
Yeah.
And I will find. I mean, I've tried to help some of my people that are around me get in, and the biggest thing that I see that keeps people from getting here is just not taking action. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to get out, take the action. You know, what you're giving the people that are around you, the information you're spreading to people that are listening to you, Jason, is viable information. And if they'll put the plan that you laid out for them into action, and just like your show, no flipping excuses, just go do it. They're going to become successful. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen next week, tomorrow, but it will be a pattern of success that they'll start to see if they just take the action and put this thing into the works. Because that's exactly what I did. I didn't know what I was doing when I got started.
Yeah.
I just did the work.
So that brings up a really good point. What would you say if you were talking to somebody brand new? I know you kind of help some folks out too. What's some of the things that you encourage people to really, stay in line with so they don't get off track? Because let's face it, you have friends, you have a spouse or a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be. You have people surrounding you right as you're getting into this. And I would say 90% of them aren't going to be super supportive. What are some of the things that you recommend to folks to get around that positive environment to where, they don't have people constantly getting on them about that you're going down the wrong path, you're not going to be successful, or just saying like negative things that fill your head? Because that the more negativity you have, it's like a cancer that's forming. It starts off small, but then it starts growing, and next thing you know, you start believing and doubting yourself. So what would you have to say to that?
Well, I don't know if it was a Warren Buffett book or something I read back when I was in college, and it's a statement that's always stuck in my mind. Do not take financial advice from a broke person.
Right.
That would be the very first thing I would look at. If the negativity from around me is not coming from people that are extremely financially successful, not that I wouldn't love them, because a lot of them are probably going to be family and friends, but in the back of my mind, I would always keep, well, they're stuck at this point, or this is the highest level of financial success they've ever reached. If you're trying to go above and beyond that, they're only going to be able to bring you up to the point that they are. They can't bring you past that.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to keep that in the back of my mind. Another thing that I've always done is I'm big on, especially now, 10 years ago this wasn't so big, but we have audio books that's all I'll listen to. When I'm in my truck, I hardly ever have the radio on. I shouldn't say never, but very, very seldom is the radio on. I'm always listening to podcasts such as this, Yeah. I'm always listening to uplifting, motivating things, financial advice podcasts. I always have a book on that I'm trying to read 1 to 2 books a month. Mm-hmm. That's something, as a child, I hated to read books. I just absolutely despised it. But now that I've become an adult and I'm a business owner, I'm trying to consume 2 to 3 new books a month so that my education level and knowledge continues to grow. And I think that's imperative for somebody that's new in the business, that's transitioning. They've got to be getting the knowledge from people that have gone this way before them so that they actually have something to follow. Because if they're trying to go down a path of a real estate investor, but they're taking advice from their mechanic, it's probably not going to lead them to their destination. Now, they might be able to fix their car if it breaks down, but they're probably not going to be able to be a stellar real estate investor. So you are going to get that. I remember when I started wanting to buy property, 2004. I was in college, and my dad he told me, "You're going to go broke. Don't do this. You've lost your mind, son."
Right.
And like you said, I was scared for a good while. I wouldn't do anything. I would buy a book and read it, and I would get analysis paralysis, and he would be in my ear, and I would get fear. And finally, I just took the leap, and I started making money. And it wasn't a lot of money, $1,000 here, $2,000, $3,000 wholesaling property. But I remember when I did my first flip, I had enough wholesaling experience that I talked a banker into giving me money. Still good friends with the guy today, but looking back on it, he probably shouldn't have given me money, but he did. And made a flip, made about $20,000 on that, and that really shut down a lot of the negativity around me, because people finally that had been doubting me, thinking the process wouldn't work, just realized, especially from where I come from, that's the average income of 2 people almost in my hometown. So they were like, holy crap, he just made as much money as a lot of people in this county make in the entire year.
Yeah.
And so once you can get that little nugget, so to speak, gem under your belt, a lot of that will go away. But you definitely got to surround yourself with people of like mind, and you may not know you may not know anyone in your inner circle, but there's people like yourself out here that are spreading your knowledge. I mean, what you do is amazing because you have the knowledge, you have the gift, you are successful, Jason, and you don't have to share this, but you are. And if people will latch on to what you're teaching and really listen to your podcast and try to garner the knowledge and keep the mindset that they want around them, however they've got to do that, wherever they've got to find it, they'll progress and move forward. But if they don't, yeah, you're right. You're going to get beat down by all the people that are too scared to do this themselves, have never done it, don't know anything about it, and it just happens. But it's out there. You can find the knowledge, and that's what I had to do.
No, absolutely. And I love that you talked about, listening to audiobooks and podcasts, because that's something that I still do too. You have to always be learning. You always have to be evolving as an individual, a human being, just growing from the inside out. And, I have a pretty big lawn that I have to mow, and I typically get on that sucker and it takes me about 3 hours to mow. And I normally could pound out an audiobook once a week. And since we've had a little bit of some dry stuff here, I wasn't able to read as much. But like you, growing up all the way up until high school, I hated reading. Maybe it was because it was books that I didn't want to read. Like,
right.
I didn't want to read Romeo and Juliet. I didn't want to read certain things in book, certain things. And
The Great Gatsby.
Oh, that I liked watching the movie.
Right.
But I wouldn't probably say, yeah, I'm going to go out and read The Great Gatsby. But no, I love audiobooks. I think it's a key thing. And before we move on here, one of the things is definitely for meeting the right type of people. The thing that Justin and I didn't have that's available now is like meetup.com. You could go to your local RIA. You can go to Chamber of Commerce meetings. You could find out when certain meetings are going on, and you could just go and start surrounding yourself with those types of folks. Because when I first got started, there was a lot of doubt. I had to do it. I didn't have a college degree. All I had was, sales from 2002 until 2008. And the only jobs I was getting was 100% commission jobs. So I really needed to make real estate investing work. And I think that's the other thing too, is you just have to jump, like Steve Harvey said in that video, talking about sometimes your parachute won't open right away. But you just need to jump. You're going to get bumps and bruises alongside, when you're falling down, you're going to probably get bumps and bruises along the way. But those who can take that and pop back up and just say, you know what, screw it. Somebody's going to punch me. I'm going to fall down to the floor. I'm going to have to get back up. And that's figuratively speaking. Somebody's not hopefully going to come up and punch you right in the face. That wouldn't be a good sign. But let's do this. What we're going to do coming back up here is we're going to discuss some things with Justin, some of his tips that he wants to give away. And we're going to discuss some additional marketing that can work for you and in your business, depending on where you are. This is going to work all over the place. I'm not sure about Alaska. But we will talk about some marketing stuff here in just a second. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
I hear from real estate investors how much of a challenge it is finding motivated sellers. This is happening all over the country. Real estate investors not knowing where their next deal will come from. I can tell you on page 141 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily find deeply discounted off-market deals. The 98% of investors out there don't have a clue about this. You can easily duplicate this process within your own business today. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can start finding deals for 50, 40, and 30 cents on the dollar without any competition. I have copies of my book available right now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. It's www.getmyflippingbook.com.
Hey there, welcome back. It's Jason Lucchese with the No Flipping Excuses Show. I'm with my good friend Justin Fields from Nashville, Tennessee. We've just been discussing some really awesome stuff, his new construction business, where he's finding deals. We talk about code violations. We've been discussing some of the things that really you need to have as a new investor getting into this, especially staying on your game and not letting negative individuals with a cancerous mind penetrate and really get you off of where you need to go. So we've been talking about that now, Justin, for a little bit. Let's discuss. I know you said, and I still like the bandit signs. I think they can be a really great source for folks, especially depending on their marketing strategy. What are you doing as far as like your bandit signs? What are they saying? What are they looking like? Like, where are you putting them?
I put them at intersections where people have to stop first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
I've ran a consistent theme pretty much forever. Sell your house fast, avoid foreclosure, offer guaranteed, and a phone number.
Okay.
And it's pretty much in there. I've changed it up a little bit from here to there, but that's always been the general message. I have a Google Voice number that is sent directly to a call center. The call center grabs all the pertinent information. So for me, for you, for anybody getting started, you don't want to be bogged down with tire kickers.
Right.
You want to be able to get the information you need extracted, and that will tell you, okay, that person is worth my time or they're not. And what I mean by that is did they hang up on the guy that answered the phone or the girl that answered the phone? You don't want to waste 3 minutes, and within that first couple minutes, they hang up on you because for whatever reason. So
right.
That call center gathers my information. I get that sent to my email. I take it and then I start dissecting and analyzing it.
Yeah.
And I can determine, okay, is there enough spread here for me to do a fix and flip or anything of that nature? So I eliminate that if it's not. Then the next is there any way for me to find equity or find a portfolio deal in this that I can pick up either for the right price in cash, creatively financing it, maybe using their existing mortgage, buying it subject to, doing a rent to own with them with the ability to sublease, or is it just a straight wholesale deal? And then the last thing for me, as I said earlier in the show, I am a silent partner in a real estate brokerage. If nothing else works for me as an investor, then I just shift it over to my brokerage and tell them, hey, look, as an investor, I don't see any way for me or anyone that I know in this market to buy this property, but I do have a great team of realtors, and so we try to give them the opportunity to sell it. So that's how my bandit sign, that's pretty much how all my marketing is set up, regardless if I'm getting it through a bandit sign or calling off a Craigslist ad, a Facebook post. If there's any way to get them to my call center, I do. I've been starting to do some squeeze pages the last couple of years, so I'm doing a little bit of online Facebook marketing. I would say that there is a technical savvy side to that I don't know that I would recommend for a new investor, but it's definitely there for those that once you get established and you've gotten in and figured that out. But bandit signs have always been great for me because I'll place them around industrial sites where people go and there's large sectors of jobs.
That's good.
You got a factory, you got an industrial area in your town where there's 2 or 3 factories. There might be 5, 10, 15, 20,000 people that go to work there every day. And they might be in a house that requires them and their spouse, they're both incomes to support their lifestyle and to have that house. And who knows, their spouse that doesn't work there may have lost their job, may have gotten sick or something, and they may know we got to do something with this house. And so I've always seen great success with those areas getting calls, because that's one of my questions in my thing that the call center asks is, how did you find out about us? So nice. I'm trying to track those metrics and track those leads. And there's some intersections that I know, hey, if my sign's there, they're going to get 2 or 3 calls a week.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So 2 questions that I have for you. How often are you putting the bandit signs out, and how many would you say on average are you putting out?
I put them out about once a 3 to 4 weeks. We put out about 50.
Okay.
I, I will say that for anybody that wants to do this, one of the great things about using a call center is when the codes guy calls you and starts threatening you, well, he's not threatening you, and my call center is been taught to. I only answer the phone. I answer it for a group of investors. We don't know who the owner is. I couldn't tell you anything. I send it to a random email. That's all I have for you. So they have a very hard time trying to violate me on their codes violations, and sometimes don't have those codes. In some of these areas, they do. Most of them that I deal with here in Tennessee, the codes guys are like Nazis. They're running around. I have been caught one time. I was sticking a sign out myself, and the codes guy pulled up on me and basically threatened to have the city sue me.
Oh, wow.
Because they had a whole dumpster full of my signs. So I mean, I probably go through 250 signs every quarter, maybe 300.
Yeah.
And so I know the codes offices, they know my signs, they just don't know who I am. So that would be something that I suggest. Is it's a little bit of money to pay for these guys to answer the phone, but pay for it, set it up right. You don't have to answer it, and then like I say, you kind of got that shield. It's almost like calling the corporate office and the gatekeeper won't let you talk to the CEO of the company. Well, when the codes guy comes after you, they don't know who they're chasing. So
That's right. And what are you using, like the H wire stakes, or are you actually stapling the signs up on a wood pole?
I staple some of them up on a wood pole. I go and buy 1x1 8-foot sticks from Lowe's,
Uh-huh.
and I cut them down into about a 32 to 28, 36-inch segment, and then I just cut an angle on the stake, and I just put them on there because you're saving so much more money. You know,
Yeah.
we're talking about some of the newer guys getting in. Don't let the wire stake cost you as much as the sign. The sign should be your true investment, along with your answering service, which they're only going to be paid on the time they're on the phone with these people. So getting them up on a telephone pole is good. Some of your local utility municipalities are not going to be too happy about that because their guy may have to climb the pole to reservice the power. But there again, it goes back to I keep that shield between me. They can't find out who you are if you do it right. And
Right.
you know, put them out if you know that there's a hot spot, if you develop a hot spot in your market and you know that intersection is good, hey, always have a sign there. If you're driving through that area and you notice, well, dang, my sign's gone, go home, get a sign, and go put it back out, because you never know when that lead's going to come in that's going to make you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And what I'm just curious, I know there's a couple different out there for the call servicing. Which one are you using?
I have used Answer First
Answer First. Okay.
for as long as I've been using a call center. There's probably some better ones, but I just know their method. I know what they charge, and it's like anything. I got in a rut with them, and it's just easy. I'm comfortable.
Hey, that if it's, I like to always say, if it's not broken, there's no reason to fix it. So there's several of them out there, but what we'll do is we'll include that link in the show notes. So if anybody wants to use that, it's Answer First, and we'll include that in the show notes so that you can do that. So Justin, let me ask you this: what would be the best way for people to reach out to you?
You can hit me on email, twopillarssllc.com, and it's twopillarssllc@gmail.com. My investment Facebook page, National Real Estate Investments, or you can find me on Facebook and link up with me. I have my private page and I also have a public profile page, so either one.
Okay.
I don't run a website, but if you want to get in touch with me, hit me up in one of those places, and you should be able to contact me.
Yeah, and we'll include all of that too in the show notes with Justin's email, going to his Facebook business page, or if you want to add him as a friend on his personal page, we'll add that below in the show notes. Or if you're listening to this on iTunes, make sure you head on over to our noflippingexcuses.com page, and you can get all of that that Justin just said. I highly encourage you to hook up with him, especially if you are wanting to sell a property or you're wanting to buy a property within the Nashville area. Justin is definitely the go-to person for that. And one of the things I want to say is if you really enjoyed this show that we've had with Justin, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. Justin definitely deserves a 5-star, right, Justin?
I think you deserve a 5-star. Guys, please give Jason a 5-star. He is the man.
Well, leave Justin and I a 5-star review, because Justin did a phenomenal job, and he stayed behind to do this show. He could have been in Louisville right now, which I think he's going to probably head out the door as soon as we're done here to go watch the football game, right?
Yeah, go Cards, by the way.
There you go, Cardinals. There you go. So sweet. Make sure you do that. Subscribe, leave us a rating. If you need to reach out to us for anything whatsoever, our phone number for support is 317-900-1307, or you could reach us by emailing support@jasonluchesi.com. That is spelled JASONLUCCHESI. I want to say thank you so much, Justin, for coming on the show and doing this podcast interview with us. It's been awesome. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon, my friend. You have a great day.
Thanks for listening. For show notes and links to anything discussed on today's program, visit noflippingexcuses.com. If you'd like to call the show, dial 317-900-1307, 24/7. Leave a message with your first name and where you're calling from, and include your question, comment, or concern. Who knows? You might end up on the air with Jason Lucchesi. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. The links are posted at noflippingexcuses.com. Remember, you can close more deals now, make your own rules, and design and live an amazing life without having some jerk-off boss tell you what to do. Share noflippingexcuses.com with like-minded people you know who are ready for badassery, crushing it in real estate, and enjoying freedom to whatever you like, whenever you like it.